Thank you, Oleg. Thanks for the wonderful opportunity to join the Games Job Fair this autumn. My name is Erik, and I'm the CEO at the Dodreams Game Studio. As a startup entrepreneur, I focus on building the best possible teams around a shared vision, and try to make sure that as a team we always remember to test all our ideas and concepts as early as possible live with real end users. My topic today is how to do more than games. So at Dodreams, learning and impact are our core values, and I'd like to present to you what we have learned from applying these in our work. So the objective of this talk is to help you build your dream career in gaming. And after this talk, you should be able to do the following things. So, or at least you should have better ideas how to do it, or some understanding. So after this talk, you should be able to understand how industry developments set requirements for developers. So there's all kinds of changes happening in the industry, and that of course has impact on what kind of skill sets and ways of working are needed to succeed in the industry. Then secondly, after the talk, you should be able to polish how you present your existing skills and know-how to potential employers. And lastly, you should be able to plan how you can then personally deepen your abilities and gain a broader knowledge of how games are made and published, operated, optimized, and how they're made to eventually thrive. So those are the learning objectives, and in order to reach these learning objectives, we have the following agenda. First, let's go through why our industry is evolving in this way. Second, how do people succeed in gaming work? What kind of skills and abilities they have? And lastly, what we have learned from making drive-ahead games. So I would like to highlight the previous points by going through how we've taken this all into consideration in the way we operate and make games at Dodreams. So let's first look into or discuss why our industry is evolving in this way, and what are the key drivers shaping our business. If you look at gaming in general, at Dodreams, we believe that there's this problem that games can be an isolating experience. They often provide only competition against faceless strangers. Furthermore, if you look at the game business and the game industry, we see that studios struggle to operate this paid user acquisition business model. So earlier, a lot of studios were focusing on making these so-called top or games that were aiming to be top grossing, meaning that they were actually designed to serve a very small population who are high value spenders, people who love to spend lots of money in games, and the way to acquire them is through paid user acquisition, so using advertising. And now, of course, Apple and Google have been restricting ad tracking, and governments have different kinds of increasing legislation on consumer privacy. So the EU, China, Brazil, even California all have some kind of regulation that prevents this tracking people with advertising. So, and also now in the first half of this year, game revenues and downloads have been in a decline. And it has actually mostly hit, or to a greater extent, hit the game studios who have been publishing game in these genres that rely highly on paid user acquisition. Also, of course, there's war going on, and there's this looming recession and economic uncertainty. So we find that investors are more cautious about investing into studios, and unfortunately, in many cases, even in Finland, studios have had to shut down or downsize their operations. So our mission at Dodreams is to craft shared moments of crazy fun. This is how we want to stand out in the market. So we don't want to make disposable entertainment. We don't want to make games where you compete against strangers. We really want to be known as the studio that makes games that bring your family and friends together. And the way we make that happen is through Drive Ahead. Drive Ahead is the main title that we're developing. It's a gladiatorial arena racing game, so you get points or you score by knocking friends in the head with a car. So it's a fun physics-based game, and we're very fortunate that it is something that we can say that is more than a game. So we have a quite large and active community that has formed around the game. So people hang out in between sessions, and they like to share and watch and discuss replay clips from the game. This makes the game very, very viral. So the game has high word of mouth. And the next big challenge for us that we're working on is to make the game real-time online multiplayer. So until now, it's had some asynchronous online features and this local multiplayer that you can play with friends on the same device. But the big thing that we're focusing the end of this year is to introduce real-time online multiplayer into the game. Okay. I will now discuss how people succeed in gaming work. First, let's discuss how to get job interviews. I have personally hired tens of people, and in my previous career in business development and sales and recruitments, helped several hundred people find jobs. And I often find that even good people don't get called in for interviews because they talk about themselves. So we often see emails where people say that, hey, you know, I'd like to join your studio because I want to learn something and I want to gain experience from something, and maybe in a few years' time I want to start my own game studio. And as human beings, we are, of course, selfish creatures. So when I'm in this hiring situation, it's important to note that me and anybody else who's making that decision are primarily interested in what's in it for me if I hire you. And this is so important that I said it 3 times: I, me, I. So it's not that people are selfish, but they want to know that if you were to join the studio, then how would you be felt and seen? What kind of impact would you have in our way of working, and how would your presence be felt in the team, and how would it be seen and felt in the game by the end users? So basically, you're talking about the same thing, but you have to turn it around and talk about the issues in the hiring person's point of view. So we're keen to know how your presence would be felt in our team and in the game. What are the things that you're confident that you can handle by yourself? So I can trust that if you join our team, that you're going to be able to handle something independently. We'd love to see evidence of stuff that you've done and shipped and been able to complete as a member of a team, to see that you're also a team player. But you can tell us what you're excited about. So I believe that you know, in order to be successful at working in our company, we have to be able to provide you some kind of challenge that you're passionate about. So of course you can talk about the things you want to learn and where you want to grow and develop, but it's important to highlight that this is an area that's also important for us as a studio. So this is important, that when you start talking to people, that you always remember to talk about things from their perspective. And then the formula for landing a dream job is simple. So it's the quality of your pitch. So take into consideration the previous slide. Are you able to tell about your impact, what you're able to do independently, how you work in a team, what you've accomplished, and how does working in the company help you have your dream career? So that's the quality of the pitch. Then the second is focus in the jobs you apply for. So I also did the mistake when I was in college, that I didn't really have like a clear path in mind. So I was sending out job applications here and there. But if you're a game artist and you send one application for a UI artist position, you've already done the work to tailor the presentation for that role. So send it out to all the game studios. But if you send one like UI artist application, and then you're going to send a game artist application, and then you're send another one for illustrations, then you're constantly having to change the presentation. So take one role and send it out to all the companies you can imagine that could benefit from your presence on the team. And then the third thing is the quantity of the contacts you make. So often people are quite emotionally invested, that you have an idea of a company you like to join, and you send out the application, and that's the only one you apply to. But if you send one application, find 10 or 100 companies you can send it to. I think we have several hundred game studios in Finland alone, and a lot more internationally who provide hybrid or remote working. And lastly, remember that in recruitments and in business, when somebody says no, it's not the end, it's actually the beginning. So if somebody says no to you, it's actually a good thing, because then you can ask them why. So, hey, I'm sorry to hear I wasn't selected for an interview, or I wasn't chosen for the top job. May I ask for some feedback? I'm always surprised how few people ask for it. And then you can add that person to your network. And remember that companies value when you apply for jobs many times, because it shows that you're interested and committed. My friend joined Rovio last year, and that person had applied for a job there 6 times. And then the dream job happened. So never give up. So let's say that if you have good communication with the hiring person and they say no for some job, don't get offended and ghost them. But keep in touch with that person. Like 6 months later, you can say that, hey, I completed some project. I just wanted to let you know that I've been doing new stuff, and hey, if you have any job opportunities in the future, please keep me in mind. So it is a sales job where you can be, and you should be proactive. And next, I would like to talk about how experts flourish in teamwork. And this is it. And this is so important that I actually bought this stock art image to highlight the point. So that fellow there is not asking for a timeout, but I think he's reminding his teammates about T-shaped skills. So T-shaped skills is a concept that's often used in hiring for this interdisciplinary, collaborative, creative work. So the vertical bar of the letter T represents this deep expertise that each and every one of us should have in some single field related to making games. And then the top bar refers to the broad understanding of how the industry works. And according to this theory, people who have these T-shaped skills, they are very well able to apply their own skills when they collaborate with different experts with these different skills, and especially when you're trying to create something new. So here, this is something for you to consider, that when you further develop your skills and abilities in the gaming industry, that you should be going after things that allow you to gain deeper experience and expertise in your field, but also understand how games are made as a whole. We will now move on to the last part of the presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions after that. In this last part, I will go through what we have learned from making Drive Ahead games. Our track record with Drive Ahead at Dodreams is by date 225 million organic downloads. And this is a massive competitive advantage for us that we don't have to invest a huge amount of money into paid user acquisition, because the game is a platform favorite. It's a game that players love showing their friends, so it has high word of mouth, and this brings us organic downloads. As I mentioned earlier, we're very fortunate that we have a community of over 1 million fans online in different communities all over the world who like to hang out in between sessions, and they share replay clips and discuss them, and they like to hang out together, solve puzzles that our developers put in the game for them, and do all kinds of cool stuff and play Drive Ahead, of course. And to give you some reference of what kind of loyal, valuable user base we have, every day there's 15,000 people playing Drive Ahead all over the world who have been playing the game for longer than a year. And considering how fast-paced our industry is, and how many alternatives people have for entertainment, we're very, very proud that we've been able to create something that has been able to retain this amount of users for such a long time. Currently, we're 20 free-to-play professionals based mostly in Finland, mostly in the capital region, but we have some people elsewhere in Finland and abroad. Drive Ahead is a 7 years young game, and as you can see from this picture, we have one hell of a time making the most fun party battler game. We are currently hiring for a DevOps tools programmer job, so if that's something that you're interested in, feel free to reach out to me via the Pine app here or LinkedIn. I already had some interesting conversations, but I'm happy to meet new people, hear what your dreams are related to game development, and if there's something where I can help for you to find your dream job and make your dream career in gaming. We will now move to the core values of Dodreams, and we'll stay on this slide for a while. So we quite simply have just two values. They're learning and impact. When we come to work every day, we come here to learn. And that doesn't mean that we don't know what we're doing. It's just that with this massive amount of daily active users, shipping updates and making updates and shipping new features and new games is the fastest way for us to learn. Even our head of studio, Sami, who's been making games for 20 years, comes to work every day to learn more. And we can learn to be better in our craft, gain that deeper understanding, or understand better how to collaborate as teams, or understand better how games are made as a whole and how they're published and grown. In order to support this learning, we found that it's important to dedicate time for different kinds of learning experiences and events. And one of those that we love doing is Dodreams Day. So during Dodreams Day, once a month, you can take a full day to do whatever you want. And as a studio, we trust that you know what you should be doing in order to become better as a game developer, and that way more valuable to us as an employee. And we found that it's actually quite fun. It's like a learning festival. So the day starts with joint stand-up, and people pitch these ideas, what they would like to try out or test or learn. So it can be some tutorial or a new technique or tool or doing something totally different than what you do in your everyday work. And quite nicely, sometimes these groups organically form, that you find people are interested in the same topics, and you have these small teams that are working together. And then after that, we can have demo day where we celebrate lessons learned. We do the similar kind of thing with hackathons, where we discuss together what are some areas of the game that irritate us and we'd like to be better, but we haven't found time to address them in sprint work. So we can take several days working on those together. Once again, here, team members pitch what they think are things that could be improved in the game. And if you find a team that's excited to be solving that problem together, then they can just start doing it and include a fix or solution into the next update. And then we see from the analytics how well it performed. So that's the learning part. And then impact, it's so wonderful being in the gaming industry, because we can have massive impact. You ship something and the next day, it can be you can start already seeing results. We want Dodreams to be a place where people feel that they have impact on their own work. So that means that as a studio and team, we discuss together what is the vision and the target for our game and business, and then we allow the teams to come up with the best solutions for that. Of course, everybody needs a coach in life, so it can be helped if you have like a good product lead or a producer or somebody who can help you discuss that, how did you arrive at this solution, and why do you think that this is going to provide us good results, and are there some challenges there, something that we should be aware of in order to have better chance of succeeding. But learning and impact are our core values, and our vision is to make games everyone knows. And this is how we want to do it. One more thing I'd like to highlight about the Dodreams way of working is that it's important for us to have as much fun making games as playing them. And this still shot is from a YouTube live stream that we did for a Halloween party some time ago. And it just goes to show that this is how much fun the team still has playing our own game. And we want to show it to the fans also, that we love playing Drive Ahead as much as they have, even though these guys have been working on the game 7 years already. So we want to be the best possible team together, but it's important to have fun while you're doing it. And now we're, so lastly, how do we know that we're making more than a game? Well, there's not just single, but several fans who say that I grew up playing Drive Ahead, and that's the best fan feedback that you can get. So that's why at Dodreams we do more than games. So let's go to the recap before we start our Q&A session. So recap first: people who describe their impact on teams and games get hired. Second, T-shaped skills have proven valuable in collaborative creative work. And lastly, impact is an outcome of individual and team learning. You got to save time for that. So this is my presentation. Thank you for participating, and now I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
What intern or junior could say what they can offer to the studio? Yeah, what the intern or junior could say what they could offer to the studio, as they do not have experience other than saying, I communicate a lot with the people, I'm a team player, and things like that.
Very good. So having impact doesn't mean that you have to be a senior, and it doesn't mean that you have to have experience from making games professionally. So in the case of a junior or an intern, a recent graduate, then show something else. Show that, hey, together with my friends, we made these games and we shipped them, and like, hey, I know how to publish a game on the App Store and the Google Play Store. So when we look at those candidates, nobody cares, did it get downloads or did it generate revenue, but it's evidence that you have persistence, you don't give up, you're able to collaborate with a team, you can work purposefully, and you can get things done. Another thing could be that you can say that, well, I haven't worked in gaming before, but I've been active in some gaming community on Discord. I've been a moderator. So try to find something that's similar, or maybe you have some summer job experience, and you can say that when for example, we hired a lead producer, and I really was fascinated because she had been selling cameras and construction goods for 8 years before joining the game industry. And one of the things she told me was that when she was selling cameras and construction goods, it was really important to quickly, with a couple of questions, understand what the customer really came to buy, because people often say one thing, but the way they're going to use the product or what they really need is different. And I think this is really a wonderful preparation for a career in gaming. So often the problem is that interns and juniors don't know what they know. So you actually have maybe done many things that are very good references and are very good, very useful.
How can we increase the chances of finding a job in another country as a junior? I think that's a tough one.
Yes, it's a tough one because, of course, companies usually are more interested in relocating seniors. So perhaps I would focus on making sure that I know the country and the culture and the language, and for example, if it's in Europe, try to get some cheap tickets and go to London or to Paris and try to book meetings during your stay. So if you want to go work in the UK, get flights and go there for 5 days and try to get as many job interviews as possible during that time.
Some of us are in middle of transition into video games. Do you think that we need to make the full process of transition before to apply for a job in a studio?
Changes in life don't happen in a bang. They're gradual shifts. So I used to be a university researcher doing PhD research in marketing, and I was a lecturer. And then in my research, and I had a chance to visit places like Stanford, I realized that I want to be a startup entrepreneur. But it took me a few years to gradually decline and have less work at the university and start doing startup stuff. So of course, in the beginning, I didn't get paid for the startup stuff for several years. So I did it on the side. So I would try to gradually, find these projects that if you're really passionate about games, that you can do them as a hobby, or join a game jam or something like that. And then just go through the job history and try to talk to games industry people so you can understand that what are the abilities and skills that these game studios value. For example, that we're hiring this DevOps tools programmer, and I've been talking to candidates outside of gaming who have experience in software. They've been doing agile and they're used to similar software and tech and solutions.
Thank you, Erik. I think we need to move on with the agenda, but if you have a moment to answer a couple of more questions then in the chat, that would be great.
I'd be happy to do that. Thank you, Oleg. Thank you, everyone.